Hello, hello, hello. I know it has been a while. What's up, YouTube? It's Adrian Jordan, Jordan Adrian. So we is getting back into this book called Deliver Me from Evil. And we're about to go ahead and run up a few chapters. We definitely going to run up a few chapters, and I will make sure I drop videos either throughout the day or at least every day or every few chapters. So therefore we can make it our business to get in tune because it's like 60 some chapters up here. So yes, it's about that time. The book is getting good. You're more than welcome to fill your drink. Whatever, you know. But we're about to get into it. Alright, so chapter 7. All kinds of prostitutes, from elderly women to teenage boys, worked all day and night, 7 days a week. 7 days a week, rain or shine, along St. Pablo Avenue, a gritty street that ran from Oakland to Berkeley and way beyond. They did their business between parked cars stretched out on the ground with with a homeless person as the lockout in the back seats of their trucks, cars, or backed up against walls in back alleys. But the one who really meant business did theirs in some cheap motels up and down San Pablo Avenue and some of the nearby streets, with rooms that they rented out by the hour. Some of the motel owners have the nerve to offer cable TV. It had been a long time since I've been inside of a motel as tacky as one I was in now. If Jason Ray hadn't given me a job and fallen in love with me, I probably would be on my back in bed with some strangers in a motel like this on a regular basis by now. I have not been in bad youth. I have not been a bad youth, just confused and impulsive. Back then it seemed so cool to be like that. I had wanted people to like me, so I eagerly become part of the wildest crowds. Not only had I fucked my brains out, I had done just about everything else, including drugs and theft. It would have been easy for me to slide into prostitution, but by marrying me, JR has saved me from a life of despair. Well, almost. The attention and the respect that he had once given to me had made me feel better than I had a long time ago. I had worked hard to reinvent myself, and for a while it had worked. The housewives in my posh neighborhood had no idea how happy I was to be among them. It saddened me that it had come to this. I had to rub my nose because there was a foul smell in the air, and it was so potent. I couldn't tell where or what it was coming from. Last week they found a woman who had been dead for 3 days under the bed of one of these motels. The bed that I was standing next to sagged in the middle, but I was not about to look up under it when I sat down on it. With my hands tied and my eyes covered, I sank into what felt like a deep valley. I gritted my teeth as Jason snapped several pictures of me, which he was going to deliver to Jesse Ray after the second phone call. That's right, Wade said in a breathy voice. I'm not good with big words, so work with me. I didn't know if I mentioned that, but yeah. Rubbing my leg as he squatted on the floor by the bed like a director. Get one more of her face from the side. Baby, poke your lips out, he ordered. Picture my thighs. That shit looks real dramatic, he said, clapping his hands. Alright, this is as much as I can stand of this, I snare. Take this shit off of me. I had already started wiggling my ropes from around my waist. I was disappointed when the blindfold came off because Jason was the one who had removed it. He stood there grinning with that one tooth had left at the top of his mouth, hanging from his gums like an icicle. When he touched me with his hands that looked like paws, my flesh crawled. Wade was standing over me, looking at the pictures I posed for. I refused to look at them as I snatched my clothes up off the floor and got dressed. I didn't even have to look at Jason to know that he was enjoying every inch of my naked skin that he could see with his beady eyes. It had been a long day, and it was going to be a long night. Around 8, we drove Jason back to whatever he was where he lived these days. I didn't want to know any more about the man than I needed to know. And I knew more than I wanted to know already. I was glad that he didn't even know about the bogus plan to flee to Hawaii after we collected the money from Jason Ray. From JC Ray. I had one way not to tell him, especially now that the plan has been initiated. I knew I would have trouble sleeping. For one thing, I had to wonder how JC Ray had explained my absence to his mama and the rest of his family, since they all lived with us and was so used to me being there to fix dinner for them and clean up behind their sorry asses. That would get nosy and impatient right off the bat. After I watched the television for a while, I glanced at my watch, surprised to see that it was a few minutes past 9 o'clock. And Dell, my bitch on wheels, sister-in-law, sat around with rum and coke and waited for me to braid her hair every night around 9. I knew that by now she was mad as hell. The fact that I had not been there to prepare dinner and bathe my invalid mother-in-law would have already set her off. These were just a few rituals that I endured every night for almost a year. That's how long my sister-in-law and her family had been living with us. To them, that's what a little while until we got back on our feet meant. I pretended to be asleep when we returned to the motel room a couple of hours later, cursing as he tripped over the empty pizza box that Jason had left behind on the floor. He took a quick shower and then crawled into the weak bed with me, naked and rubbing on my butt with both hands with his throbbing stuff. Despite the fact that I had arranged my own kidnapping to get money from my husband so that I could start my life over as a single woman, I still have feelings for Jesse Ray. My history with him had not been all bad, but no matter what happened and where I ended up, even if it was in jail, I will always be grateful to Jesse Ray for all the good that he has done for me. I didn't love Wade the way that I always wanted to. He was some kind of man that I would marry and have babies with. He was more like a real life fantasy. And in the real world, no woman in her right mind would marry a fantasy. True. But he had been my first love and my steady lover for the past several months. I cared enough about him for that. How could I not? The fact that he had been a maintenance man and a lot other woman lives and probably still was. Over the years didn't bother me. He still made me feel special. Especially when he agreed to help me commit a crime that could ruin both of us for the life if we got caught. Chapter 8. As much as Wade turned me on, I still ignored rubbing and patting my crotch. I had had enough sex for one day. He wouldn't let me off that easy though. He slid my panties off and fucked me anyway. All the while thinking I was asleep. And for the next hour, he rolled me like a mule before he slumped over to his side of the bed like a boneless corpse. I had some long nights in my turbulent life. But this was the longest night that I ever had to get through. But the ruckus that the hookers made running in and out the rooms on both sides of us and fussing and fighting and fucking their tricks would have been enough for me to keep me from getting to sleep anyway. And even though this was not a family-friendly motel, somebody outside of the baby and the dog that were crying and howling too much. I could barely tell from one to the other. I couldn't sleep if I wanted to. I knew that I really wouldn't sleep well again until after Jesse Ray had paid the ransom money for my return. If he did, I was still wide awake when Jason returned to the motel around 10 the next morning, grinding as usual. The course Of course, I was annoyed and angry to see that Wade was giving that punk a key to the room. I didn't have the key. Not that I was going to be out taking a morning stroll or anything, but to me, it would have made more sense for me to have a key than Jason. I figured y'all would be hungry. Jason said, stumbling into the room holding a brown paper bag. These bear claws is a day old and the coffee is kind of weak. And I went to the cheapest and the closest place I could find. He took out one of the bear claws and bit into it with one tooth. His face was twisting from left and right as he chewed, and then he set the bag down on the dresser, looking me up and down. I was still naked, thanks to Wade, but I had the covers to pull up to my chin, so it didn't do Jason any good to roll his eyes up and down my body, hoping to see a crack through a crack in the covers. Thanks, man, Wade said as he fished for 2 cups of coffee out the bag. He took a quick sip, making gargle sounds in his throat. Baby, you need to eat something, he said. He said, handling me a bear claw, which looked like somebody had been playing with it. I shook my hand. Listen, me and Jason, we decided to go call my man from a payphone today, like you suggested. I'm glad to hear that, I said, sitting up. I made sure that the covers were still up around my chin. I wish you would done that yesterday when you called him. I dragged my fingers through my matted hair and slid my tongue around the inside and outside of my mouth. The taste of my gums and teeth and lips was enough to make me sick. But I didn't want any coffee, any of the beaten up bear claws, or anything else in my mouth except for some mouthwash or some toothpaste, which I didn't have. But more than anything, I wanted this episode to be over and done with. What about those pictures we took yesterday? I said, looking from Wayne to Jason. What about them pictures? Wade asked, talking with his mouth full. What are you going to do with them? I wanted to know. We're going to use them. What did you think I took them for, woman? Jason snapped. Jason, I wasn't talking to you. I said, shaking a finger at him. I was talking to Wayne. While I'm talking to you. And while I'm doing it, I want to tell you that you got one hell of a mouth on you, girl. No wonder you couldn't keep your husband happy. Jason stared, talking and chewing at the same time. A hard look crossed his face, and he stared at me with so much contempt. I felt a sharp pain shoot straight up my back. I didn't want you involved in this in the first place, and if it was up to me, you wouldn't be here right now. I reminded. This is mine. I paused and tapped my chest with my finger. My game. If you don't want to play by my rules, you can take your fucking bear claws and get the hell up out of here. And with your lovely record, I know I don't have to worry about you blabbing about any of this. Jason was still chewing, but the look on his face had softened. He blinked and swallowed hard. We ain't going to use them pictures unless we have to, he meant, looking at Wade. Jason, I'm in the room, and I'm the one talking now. I asked the question about the pictures, not Wade. You can address me, I said with a smirk. After we get the money, you won't have to see me again. Woman, I don't know why you tripping. We all on the same side. Jason said, speaking to me, but still looking at Wade. And then he sipped his coffee like a hog on a trough. Both of y'all need to chill out. We got business to take care of, Wade saying, shaking his fist in Jason's face, but looking at me. Baby, you better stay in the room while we gone. I've seen him pay for about 2 blocks away. What are you going to say to my husband this time? I asked, still glaring at the side of Jason's face. I flinched when he let out a loud belch. Burp. First, we need to find out where my man's head at right now. And if things are still going our way, I'll tell him when and where to drop off the money. Wade paused and gave me a thoughtful look. Once we get our money, well, it's over. You do what you got to do. I do what I got to do. Any questions? He he looked from me to Jason. Hell yeah, I got a question. When do I get paid? Jason asked in an anxious voice, moving towards the bed. Crumbs decorated from his chin to his lips. It was only then that I noticed that Jason had looked cleaner and neater than he looked the day before. He wore a nice crisp plaid shirt with a pair of jeans that somebody had taken their time to iron. The crease of the legs were razor sharp, and whatever he was doing to the women in his life was working. Or if he was lucky, his way, one of the women taking such good care of him was his mama. Calm down, brother. You will get your money when OJR give me my money. Wade said firmly, giving Jason a hot look. I think you mean my money, I said, ignoring the ammunition feeling that suddenly came over me. The feeling that I had was one thing, but that was bad enough. But the way that Wade looked at me gave me chills that went all the way down to my bones. Chapter 9. Let's see in here. Okay, got chapter 9. Oh shit, well, let's go then. Okay, so we're going to stop at chapter 12. So we're going to do chapter 9, 10, and 11, and then we're going to stop at 12. So here's chapter 9. I didn't know how long Wade and Jason would be gone this time, and even though I was nervous on edge, I was glad to be alone and I could save some time to myself. I had no appetite the way my stomach was feeling. I didn't think I'd eat again until I knew for sure Jason Ray was going to. My throat was dry, but now okay, I didn't have my okay, oh gosh, I forget. I had no appetite. My stomach was feeling. I didn't think I'd eat again. I knew for sure that Jason Ray was going to do. My throat was dry, and by now, coffee that Jason had brought was too cold to drink. I emptied one of the cups I used to get some of the water from the faucet out the bathroom. I was only able to swallow a few sips, and I almost threw it back up. The water was cloudy and tasted like metal. I tried to get some sleep as I crawled back into the bed and curled up under the covers, still naked. Maury Povich was on TV screen with some trashy-looking, big-footed women screaming at their married man that she's been having an affair with. But no matter how tired I was or how hard I tried to doze off, all I could do is lie there and think. There was a lot of things on my mind that I needed to sort through my future. With the most important, I almost lost my place. My past and the things that have happened to me, and then has driven to my present of desperation. There was not much in my life for me to be happy about. I had no friends or real toys to play with. The television that we have only got 2 stations. One was at Home Shopping Channel, which was useless because nobody in our house was interested in costume jewelry or Jinsu knives. The other channel was in Korean. It was no wonder I was always doing something like to upset my mama. Like the time I walked into the bedroom I shared with her and Daddy and saw another man with her on bed. They didn't see me, but as soon as Daddy got back home from the generous job at the nearby office building, with long hours that my parents worked, I pretty much had to raise myself. During that time, I felt that I didn't belong anywhere. These days that my parents would leave the house before I got up and would come home after I gone to bed, I felt like an orphan. I roamed through the streets like a stray dog. I started smoking when I was 10 and drinking a year later when I couldn't steal any of my daddy's cigars, and When there was no alcohol in the house, I stole what I wanted from convenience stores. Sometimes I stole from the parents of some of the unsupervised kids I ran amok with. Nobody never told me not to do it or that it was wrong. So I kept doing it. It didn't take me long to make some new friends. Across the street from us lived a Mexican family with 9 kids. The only girl, Maria Cortez, was my age. We hit it off right away, and before I knew it, I was hanging out with Maria and some of her friends like me. They are not really bad kids, but I was glad to see that they are not as confused and impulsive as I was. Our conversation almost included sex, and I was the only virgin in the crowd, so I tried to absorb as much information as I could. I couldn't wait to have my first sexual experience so that I could see what all the fuss was about. After school, I would go home and watch television and eat whatever I wanted to eat. It was a good thing that I enjoyed healthy things like fruits and vegetables as much as I did candy shop and soda pop. I was as healthy as I was supposed to be, but there were other things around me that were not healthy. The lack of guidance was one because there was nobody around too much to tell me what to do and what not to do. I did whatever I wanted and I didn't have to worry about any consequences. Not only did Miss Louise had a handsome son, but she was a clean woman. She kept her house clean. She could eat off the floors. But she was also a materialistic woman with an extravagant taste. A lot of people didn't like her because she borrowed money from everybody she knew to support her expensive habits. She even borrowed from me the pocket change that I made running errands for old people. My crotch, okay. Girl, what's gotten into you? He laughed, pushing me away. He grabbed my wrist and turned around to face me. He had eyes like a cat. They were gray and shiny, and it was mysterious that I looked into them. Seemed like looking into his soul. I felt something that I had never had in my life before, and that was something that I would never forget or stop searching for. I was getting signals from places on my body that I had never paid attention before. My crotch alone felt like it was on fire, so I wanted to get this over with as soon as possible so I can cool off and move on to something else. In addition to having sex, there were a lot of other things that I wanted to do while I was still young enough to do them. I started rubbing his dick with both of my hands as hard as I could. Chapter. Start rubbing his friend. I got to remember. His friend. His friend. YouTube friend. Okay. I got to know my words. But Chapter 10. Talk to me, Christine. I asked you what you got in you. What done got in you, girl. It could be you and me if you want it to be. I say trying to intimidate and look. I have seen on HBO the night before on Kathleen's Turner Face in Body Heat. It was disappointing to me that this boy was not as smart as I thought he was. Couldn't tell what I was up to. Did I have to come straight out to tell him that I wanted to that I wanted to play with him? Gotta make sure of that. It could be you and me. I offer pushing myself up against him, grinding. He's several inches taller than me, so I was grinding against his thigh. That got his attention real fast. His eyes got big, his lips curled up at both ends onto the biggest smile I ever seen on a boy. I sure hope so. It's all I ever wanted to do, he said, hopefully turning his head so I could see his profile. When I cleared my throat and pressed against him a little harder, he turned his attention to me. He shook his head and looked at me, blinking a few times before he spoke again. I figure I do a little television first. I can get my feet wet. I nodded. I was kind enough thinking about doing the same thing myself. I lied. You seen Body Hate? It's my all-time favorite movie. I'm going to do movies like that. I stumbled back a few steps, bumping into the wobbly kitchen. I will never make fun of you, I whimpered. That comment didn't seem to impress him. He shot me a dirty look and stared to walk away, stuffing a $20 bill he just taken from me into his pocket. And to see if you wanted to have some fun, I moved back up against him again, parting his legs from my knee. I didn't care how uninterested he tried to be. That hard bulge between his thighs told me a different story. Girl, how old are you? The boy asked, looking at me out of the corner of his eye. I knew he wasn't too concerned about how young I was because of both hands were on my butt, squeezing and sliding up and down in such a way I could barely stand still. I'm old enough for you, I insisted, and I know you like older women, but there ain't nothing that they can do that I can't do. The older women that the boy had already fooled around with were in college, and the one I already had a baby by some other boy. Excuse me. What's wrong? He asked, both hands inside my bra. He froze and then looked at me out of the corner of his eye. My titties are starting growing. I admit it. He laughed underneath his breath as he pulled out a tissue looking like as if it was a snake. I turned to leave with my head bowed and my eyes already filled with tears. Some sex spot I had turned out of me. Home to watch Cheers reruns. I guess you don't want me now, huh? I sniffed. All I want to know is if you are clean. Huh? I rotated my neck and gave him a puzzled look. Yeah, I'm clean. I took a shower this morning. Took a shower every morning. The boy rolled his eyes and grinned. That ain't what I meant. I shrugged. Some old funky Jamaican girl gave me the crabs last year, he confessed, looking embarrassed. The what? Never mind, he said, waving his hands and rolling his eyes. You can stay and we can have a good time, but I'm telling you now, if you burn me, I'm going to kick your butt. I had no idea what he was talking about, so I shrugged again. Did you mention that today is my birthday? Those eyes were on my breath as he spoke. No shit. Damn, he got to celebrate now. Happy birthday. You look clean enough for me, so I'll take a chance on you. My room upstairs. I entered in the same messy bedroom to get fucked like so many girls before me, but I didn't want it to be like any other girl this boy has been with. I wanted to be special in somebody's life, and he was a good start. He shuffled into the room a few minutes later, nibbling on a candy bar, and unzipped his pants at the same time. I sat up as soon as he sat down. Yeah, you kind of cute. And what's your name again? He asked. My heart felt like it dropped down to the soles of my feet. Christine, I mumbled. Oh, yeah, that's right. Listen, I got a feeling you and me might be getting to something real big one day. And by the way, my name is Wayne. So basically with chapter 10 and 9, it was basically like rehashing from the beginning when they first met, So that's not too bad. I definitely get that. Christine, this is chapter 11. What a break. Christine, this is Wade. Why are you sounding so strange? What's the matter with you? Listen, baby, and listen good. This is the thing. I know this shit is getting crazy, but I might need you to talk to your boy again. Wade said, sounding tired and disappointed. I'm getting real aggravated with your own man. He sounds angry and even more impatient now. What did he say? What is the problem? He ain't saying what I want him to say. What's the problem? Wade let out a groan and then started cussing underneath his breath. That's why I can't stand niggas with money. They ride on such high horses, they done rolled clean out of reality. Them stingy motherfuckers. I believe you, baby. And I'm just as frustrated as you are with That scalawag cocksucker myself. Now, I wish I could snatch up Mike Jagger's half black daughter. You know where she lived, Wade snorted and cussed more under the breath. Never mind. Knowing that uptown heifer, she won't be that easy to grab. No how. If I have to, I will. I just hope that we'll be able to get this over with as soon as possible with just a couple of phone calls. I just spoke with him yesterday. He, you told him he had till Friday to get the money to you. I said if this plan failed, my life was over, and I had run out of option. I in a world of trouble. What is it going to take for him to realize that? I didn't try to hide the desperation in my voice. It's just the maid. Oh, housekeeping. The person yelled on the other side of the door, yelled, jiggling the door handle. It's just the maid. I say, breathing a sign of relief. Let me get rid of her. I didn't wait for Ray to respond. I let the phone on the bed. I laid the phone on the bed and put the sunglasses and the cap. And then I crack open the door and peered into the tired moon face of a woman who reminded me of the beloved late godmother. I don't need any service today, I said quickly. She seemed relieved to hear that. As a matter of fact, I won't need any housekeeping service any other day either. I'll be checking out on Friday, I said hopefully. No towels, no toilet paper. The maid asked, still trying to look over my shoulder. No, I said, shaking my hand and trying to shut the door. I have enough toilet paper and towels and everything else I brought on my own. I brought my own soap, so you don't even have to worry about that. The maid had a puzzled look on her face as I shut and locked the door, securing it with a deadbolt and a chain. I stood my back against the door until I heard her knock on the door on the room next time. I'm back, I said, picking up the phone. I got rid of her. Don't you open that door no more, Wade hollered. It was just the man, I hollered back. If I haven't opened it, she would have entered the room. Now, what was I supposed to do? I got to get rid of her for the rest of the week. Just don't open that door no more. Do you hear me? I ain't going to jail for you or nobody else. That was a short chapter. This is 12. You have to walk into chapter 12. Okay, jail was a place I wanted to be. I tried not to even think along those lines, and it made me angry when Wade brought it up. I didn't like to think of the pictures I posed for. I had hoping that I would have showed them to my house, to my husband. As strange as it seems, even to me, I wanted to make his monkey business as painless as possible for Jesse Ray. The same night Wade made a video of us making love, I had to protest and try to get out of doing that too. But after he applied me with a gallon of wine, I became putty in his hand. He whined and pouted so much about needing something to help him get through the days and nights that I couldn't be with him, and I agreed to just shut him up. When and if we got the money from Jesse Ray, I made to Sacramento to start a new life. One thing I was sure I would never do was to let somebody photograph me naked or any other way. The world had become too small, and I didn't want any new pictures of me floating around that might end up in the hands of someone who knew me. My break from Jesse Ray had to be complete in every way. How? I asked Wade. How what? How is Jason going to show my husband those pictures? He can't go up to him in person, and if he mails them, it could take him a day or two before J.C. Ray received them. Then how would you get the pictures to J.C. Ray? He got cameras all over the video store. Even if you or Jason go up there to disguise the delivery of those pictures, those investigations these days have come up with all kinds of ways to identify folks in disguise. I stopped to catch my breath. Even if he doesn't call the cops now, he probably will once it delivers the money and returns safely. Jason Ray works too hard to get the money he's got, and he is not going to let that go easy. I have not cleaned myself since I have left home this morning. I left home the morning before. I had not showered my bathroom, my bedroom rumps, and bedroom rumps with Wade in his mama house. And in the motel, I was beginning to feel pretty ripe and musty. I was a clean woman. I'm used to taking showers every morning and in long hot bubble bath every night. There was nothing more disgusting to me than the smell of a day old sex and dry cum kick up on my thighs and face. I quickly take a sh- I quickly I took a quick shower, and I do mean quick. The shower area had water bugs crawling up and down the moldy walls and were just sliding across the plastic shower curtains and across, and the hot water was almost as cold as the cold water. I almost felt when I noticed a used condom cracked soap dish on the wall sill. I could not relax or get comfortable because I had so many disturbing thoughts swimming around my head. As hard as I tried to focus on the present situation and my future, my past had come back to haunt me. Chapter 13. Okay, so we're going to do one more thought. This going to do one more. This chapter is nice. I didn't, this book is pretty good, it's, ooh. I did enjoy having sex with Wayne on my 13th birthday, even though I had acted like it was the best thing I ever happened to me because I already experienced a few orgasms. But the first one by mistake, by clutching my pillow between my thighs while laying in bed, I thought I knew what to expect. I could have done it 1,000 times, and it still hurts. Out of Denise Corners, one of Maria's friends. We were in the bathroom that Maria shared with her 4 siblings. I looked towards the door to make sure none of them was eavesdropping before I responded. What if it hurts? Why is everybody doing it? I wanted to know. Despite the tone of the conversation, there was a tingling in my crotch that had become quite familiar since I started having these conversations with my friends. After Wade had what I thought was some kind of spasm, the way he started jerking and hollering even louder and slamming into me, he gave me a few sloppy kisses and told me what a good piece of cakes, kitty cakes, cat, trying to be discreet. Yeah, what a good piece of cake, I would. My jaw open, and it took me a few months to compose myself enough to speak again. What happened? I asked. What do you mean by that? Don't you know? I thought you was like dying or having a heart attack or a stroke or something. The way chuckled and tapped the side of my head. I got my nut. Oh, didn't you get yours? He sounded disappointed. I got mine too. I got mine too. You really know how to do it. After he let a few more belches. After he let a few more belches and a few more burps and had a couple of farts, he just lay there on top of me, breathing loud through his mouth. His body jerked a few times. Once Wade returned to his senses, he leaped off the mattress and turned on me like a snake. Not only he was mad because I made him forget about some ball game, but he cussed me out for getting blood on his mama sheets too. Ooh, shit. Damn you, girl. I done missed my basketball game. Now you are going to give me all kinds of trouble with my mama. Look at the goddamn blood on my sheets. He screamed, struggling to zip up his pants. Go home and take a douche. He had gave me a sharp look, and then he laughed. He laughed like I was the biggest joke he ever seen. Huh? Yeah, I knew that, but not the other girls I've been with. Did you mean to tell me that I'm your first virgin? I asked, feeling more special than I thought I would. Wade shifted his eyes and then gave me a thoughtful look. Yeah. His voice had softened. He even smiled as he sat next to me on the messy mattress. You ain't never done it before? You let me be the first, he asked with a proud look on his face. I nodded and gave him a shy look. It was kind of good, huh? I think we should do it again. Spread open them legs, he ordered, glancing at the clock with the Mickey Mouse face on the wall facing his bed. Hurry up. Do we have time? What about your mama? What about your basketball game? My mama is at the nail shop, and that game is over with, he said, tugging at my panties. It still hurts, I confessed, making a face and rubbing my cat. You know, I slapped his hand away. Oh, that's right. Okay, then. He muted, clearly disappointed. He perked up almost immediately. Suck my dick, then. He sucked my friend. I gotta remember. Suck my friend, then, he suggests with a shrug, licking his lips. I shrugged and made another face. I never done that before. I whimpered despite what my girls have told me and what I have seen in some nasty magazines. They share with me. Sucking things, they didn't appear to me. I didn't want any to go into my mouth that I couldn't swallow, so I told him. Wade talked me to do it anyway. He talked me the whole time I was down there between his thighs, my head bobbing up and down like a cork. He told me which way to do it, which way not to do it, except for sore cheeks. I wasn't getting a damn thing out of this dog and pony show, but I did everything I could to keep Wade from realizing that. I grinding like a joker when he squirted everything he had in my mouth. It was almost a disgusting thing that ever happened to me. While Wade was on his back, hanging off the mattress, breathing from his mouth, hard enough to blow out a burning bush. I was quietly spitting his juices on the floor. Blah. Then I wiped my lips on the corner of the sheet and wonder what have I gotten myself into. That's the end of chapters 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We will be resuming on the next one on 14. Y'all take it easy. I will be back to drop another video. Y'all stay tuned and all that with your girl. It's Adrian Jordan Adrian. I did not forget. I kept my word, and we is going to keep up with these books. Y'all take it easy.